Fox 29 News at 10 is next.
Tomorrow morning at 7 on Fox 29.
Gun violence out in the open and out of control. Tonight, what happened behind closed doors to try to stop what's happening in Buffalo?
He seems to be telling voters that you're dangerous, they should be fearful of you.
Tonight, India Walton responds directly to the man whose job she's trying to take. A significant new promise about the new Buffalo Bills Stadium, and 2 key questions answered about what and where.
Buffalo's Fox 29 News at 10 starts now.
Good evening, I'm Michael Benny. Breaking tonight in Florida, search and rescue efforts are happening again. More than 140 people are missing. Live to the Fox Box right now at 10 o'clock, the searching can only happen in areas that are deemed safe enough. Also, the state of Erie County delivered tonight virtually. We have the highlights. You're paying for it, tolls on the thruway, but that wasn't always the plan. And looking ahead to 4th of July weekend, will showers rain on your parade? To your Fox First forecast tonight with meteorologist Scott Hetsko.
This is exciting to be here with you. Hi, everybody. We're looking forward to serving you in the months and years to come, a new way of doing the weather and news. Hey, overnight tonight, those rain showers we had earlier are coming on back off and on right through tomorrow morning. So not raining the entire time, but when it does, it may pour across our area, western New York down toward the southern tier. Wet highways Friday. Kind of a so-so Saturday, but the 4th of July looks free of rain. Much more on the forecast for the weekend and beyond coming up in just a few minutes.
Thank you, Scott. Breaking as we come on the air at 10 o'clock tonight, rescue efforts at the condo collapse disaster site outside Miami have resumed. 15 hours after everyone had to come off the pile of rubble over concerns the rest of the building could also come down. Authorities are planning for the likely demolition of what's still standing there. The President and First Lady visited the scene in Surfside today. At least 18 people are confirmed dead as the search continues for the 145 who have not been found.
We will continue to search feverishly, as we have done all along, in the parts of the collapse that we currently have access to. Given our ongoing safety concerns about the integrity of the building, we're continuing to restrict access to the collapse zone.
And another growing concern tonight, Tropical Storm Elsa, which could hit Florida next week. Be afraid. She's dangerous. She's reckless. That's what India Walton says she hears when Buffalo Mayor Byron Brown talks about her. Walton beat Brown in the Democratic primary last week and is now one of the most talked about people in politics. Fox 29's Olivia Dance sat down with Walton. She's live in Buffalo right now.
Michael, when I sat down with India Walton today, she addressed some of the fears around her being a Democratic socialist, and she says there's nothing to be afraid of. India Walton stunned the political world when she won the Democratic primary for mayor. After days of silence, Mayor Byron Brown rallied supporters to support his write-in campaign in November. He did so by taking aim at Walton and her socialism.
I have also heard from voters that there is tremendous fear that has spread across this community. And they have said to me that they do not want a radical socialist occupying the mayor's office.
He seems to be telling voters that you're dangerous, they should be fearful of you, reckless for running for office and getting this far. He also never uses your name. He's referred to you as that woman. Is that what you hear as well from the mayor?
That's what I hear, but it is not resonant with my supporters. People know that I am India Walton. People know that I am a warm, caring, kind, and compassionate person. And that is what's most resonant about this campaign, is that it is centered on people and rooted in love. And at the end of this, I think that love will win.
Walton has been vocal that she is a Democratic socialist. The word socialism is what Mayor Brown says some voters fear. What would you want to say to voters who maybe are fearful of that word?
I would remind them of Social Security. I would remind them of some of the things that helped us make it through this pandemic, like stimulus checks and SNAP benefits for families with children. And our platform is really about supporting working class people, supporting families and the most vulnerable in our community. And I don't think there's anything that needs to be scary about that.
Walton's view of socialism has her thinking of new ways to use the city's budget.
One of the first things that we're going to work on is called participatory budgeting, where we are going to allocate funding and go into neighborhoods and work with people to find out what needs they have for their own lives and communities and work with them on proposals and then fund those proposals.
There is tremendous fear.
We're going to stay on the high road. The view is better from there. I think that people want to see a campaign that's focused on the issues, and that's exactly what we intend to do.
Both Mayor Brown and Walton said they will rely heavily on people power for their campaigns. Reporting live in downtown Buffalo, I'm Olivia Dance.
Olivia with the candidate that people all over the country are talking about. Thank you. It was a virtual State of the County address for Erie County Executive Mark Poloncarz. He spent a lot of time reflecting on the impact of the pandemic and the county's response to it, as well as praising frontline workers. Poloncarz also touching on racial injustice, various infrastructure projects, and more. The county executive did look forward, saying a major investment will help with the construction of affordable housing. You can watch the message right now at foxbuffalo.com. Tonight we go behind closed doors. This is the meeting today on an urgent crisis in Buffalo. Federal law enforcement agents in a high-stakes strategy session on the increase in violent crime across Western New York. Tonight, Fox 29 is taking a closer look at unsolved homicides in Buffalo. This year, we've seen 47 homicides in 6 months. Police report arrests or closed cases in 11 of them. That leaves 36 unsolved homicides, 3 out of every 4 killings where a suspect may still be on the loose. 3 of the unsolved homicides happened just last week. 3 men shot to death on Ashley Street. Rhonda Lee pointed out she still has bullet holes in the house. Still, her brother was shot and killed in the house next door.
And the boy just started shooting and firing and shot up everybody in the house.
Lee says the person responsible for shooting and killing her brother has never been found. Fox 29's Kevin Jolly is working for you live in Buffalo right now. Kevin.
That's right, Michael. We know arrests and convictions are dependent on witness testimony and intelligence, information police and prosecutors gather from their investigations. But arrests and prosecutions are flatlining because since COVID, police are not able to get out on the streets and gather essential information.
And I am so tired of these kids out here killing each other.
Rhonda Lee knows the pain of losing a loved one to gun violence. Her brother, Dietrich Clemens, was killed in this house last September. The shooter has never been found.
You know, they killed my baby, and they never, ever solved the problem. There's no snitch, no tell, stuff about this who getting killed out here. And it hurts.
So far this year, there have been 47 homicides, and only 4 of those cases have been closed, and another 7 arrests have been made.
Our numbers are kind of low, but they're anticipating we might get past 94 homicides. I don't want to see that happen, but the way how it's going, it might.
Stop the Violence Coalition President Murray Holman believes part of the problem many cases are never solved is the reluctance on the part of police to engage the community, especially in the wake of the social justice movement and the nationwide move toward police reform.
When our law enforcement has been actually handcuffed not to do these investigations or try to have these checkpoints or wherever it might be to get some of these guns off the street. There are too many guns on our street, period.
Erie County District Attorney John Flynn says COVID has also had an impact on law enforcement's ability to gather information that can lead to more arrests and prosecutions.
Boots on the ground, officers on the street, peacemakers on the street, they hear things, they can pick up raw human-to-human contact intelligence. When you put the data, digital intelligence, together with the person intelligence, you get more information. And then you can interact and get to these people who are having beefs before they pull a gun out.
And it's not as easy as you might think for people to come forward if they see or know something. In fact, I spoke with a resident today who lived near one of the recent homicides, and he told me if he talks to me on camera or if he talks to police today, he could be dead tomorrow. Now, people are just simply afraid to come forward. Now, we did reach out for an interview with Buffalo Police, and we are waiting to hear back. Michael?
All right, Kevin Jolly, thank you. Tonight, state police are asking for help finding a missing woman from Angola. The Seneca Nation Marshals contacted troopers this week about a possible missing persons case involving 45-year-old Gina Baca. Anyone with a tip on this should call state police at 585-344-6200. Now, a Fox 29 Buffalo exclusive tonight. Senator Chuck Schumer pledging his support and the federal money that comes with it to building a new Buffalo Bills stadium. We were first to report last month that plans are now in the works for a new outdoor stadium in Orchard Park, not Buffalo. The Senate Majority Leader told me, show me a plan and I'll get you the money.
They need some federal help. I'll go to bat for them. I love the Bills. I'll do anything to continue. They stay in Buffalo for generations.
There will be taxpayer money spent on this new stadium, correct?
Well, if there's taxpayer money, the money it brings into when people come, I mean, 15–20% of them come from Canada. They go to our restaurants, they go to our stores, they go to our hotels. It's good for the economy.
And you'll get no argument from those at the Big Tree Inn just down the road from the Bills' current stadium.
We'd be super excited about that. I mean, we've been speculating about it for years.
The Bills' lease with Erie County runs through 2023. The state, the county, and the team in talks about a new stadium deal near the current Orchard Park location. The Erie County Controller says your tax dollars are certain to be part of that final deal.
Good, bad, or indifferent, like it or not, there is no question that tax dollars will have to be used to keep the Bills in Buffalo.
Our Buffalo Plus sports team was first to break this story, and tonight they're answering two key questions. Why not downtown? And why not a dome?
Mike Catalano along with Dan Fates. Dan, when we broke this story, we talked about not everybody's going to be happy. Right. People who want a dome, people who want to be downtown. What's the reason they wouldn't do it?
Well, it's dollar signs. It's plain and simple. It's going to be an extra cost to build downtown, as well as if you build a dome. Mike, we're talking about an extra $1 billion with a B to add on into a closed stadium.
And if they do that, not in Orchard Park, you're talking about a change of the way Bills fans go to games.
Yeah.
It's not just the money. It would cost you more to go to a game in a dome.
Parking.
More to go to game downtown because of the cost. But we're also talking about the tailgate experience that Bills fans love. The Bills organization, very cognizant of that. That's what they want for a new stadium built in Orchard Park. That's what they're telling us is their plan going forward. For all your Bills coverage, remember to check out the Buffalo Plus YouTube channel. Michael?
Thank you, guys. The Buffalo Sabres making news tonight, too, announcing interim coach Don Granato is now the permanent head coach. The Buffalo Plus team returns at 10:30 to tell us what this means for a star player. You paid for it, and you're still paying for it. Whatever happened to that long-ago promise the Thruway would be toll-free? Tonight, our report reveals the alternative isn't all that attractive either.
The fireworks are behind me. What is it going to be like in Buffalo on Sunday night for all the festivities? I'll let you know coming up.
And thousands of hours spent learning to fly in space, and she never got there. That was forever ago. Now, at long last, her chance to go up. In your Fox Focus tonight, it's a question that's been asked so many times over the years. Didn't state officials say that someday the Thruway would be a toll-free highway? Yes, but it never happened. The tolls remain, and you're paying for it. Greg Floyd set out to get some answers on this. He's with us live along the Thruway in Albany tonight. Greg.
Hi, Michael. Yeah, the Thruway could be toll-free, but it can't be totally free. Money to maintain this highway has to come from somewhere. So it boils down to really the tolls or your taxes. I-88 from Binghamton to Schenectady, fully opened by connecting to the New York State Thruway to great fanfare back in 1982. Who knew that the state of New York had a chorus? Hard hats, but easy on the ears. At that ceremony, a promise from powerful U.S. Senator Daniel Patrick Moynihan.
To see that within a decade now, or just a little more, the thruway become toll-free from beginning to end.
Senator Moynihan would double down on that just a few months later.
The reason it will be free is because of signatures put on documents today at Thruway headquarters. Those documents say the state agrees to make the superhighway free in 1996 in exchange for $500 million in maintenance money until then.
Fast forward almost 4 decades and the Thruway is not a freeway. Tolls remain. Cashless tolling now, but tolling nevertheless. So what happened? We went straight to the Thruway Authority Executive Director for answers. We always heard talk that someday the road behind you would be toll-free, but that hasn't happened. Why isn't it toll-free?
Well, we still have to maintain it. It's got to be paved. It's got to be plowed. There's constant bridge repairs. We need to keep it safe for our customers who use the Thruway.
Matthew Driscoll points to the Thruway Authority Transition Advisory Council, created in 1989, charged with making recommendations concerning the future of the Thruway and the Thruway Authority after the scheduled retirement of the authority's bondable debt in the year 1996. It was the Advisory Council's recommendation that tolls were preferable over taxes. And in 1992, the governor and legislature changed the purpose of your tolls from paying off the original construction cost to maintenance of the road and sustaining the Thruway Authority. So they authorized more bond debt.
At the end of the day, there's only two options, really. It's either on the taxes or it's paid for by the people who choose to use it.
Which means that Senator Moynihan's dream,
the Thruway become toll-free from beginning to end,
stays just that.
I can't speak to what the late, great senator really meant when he said that, but the fact of the matter is as you can see, it's heavily trafficked, and we still need to make sure it's safe.
So again, it's the users, the drivers who are going past me right now who are paying for this highway. And it's not just New Yorkers. The Thruway Authority tells me about 1/3 of the people who use this road are from out of state. Reporting live from Albany, I'm Greg Floyd. Michael, we'll send it back to you.
Oh, Greg, I'm a sucker for video from the archives, and you delivered tonight. Thank you. To the Fox First Forecast with meteorologist Scott Hetsko right now.
So good to be with you here this evening. Let's talk about on Fireworks Sunday night for the Big Buffalo festivities. Whatever you're doing for Sunday, weather should cooperate in the evening. Some snap and crackle only from firework people, not from you. Be careful in your backyard. It'll be in the 60s late Sunday night. Hey, Almanac today, 80 over 68. Not too bad in Buffalo today. 93, the record set back in 1963. Let's talk about future weather because it's going to rain here off and on tomorrow. So 7:28 in the morning, we got some scattered showers. Look at the timeline. The rain's moving in from northeast to southwest. That's an upper level low pressure that's moving through the area. So kind of a wishy-washy Friday. It will improve for the weekend. And that's all that matters. All right, let's look at future rainfall to give you an idea of what we could expect here. So if you get caught in some of these heavier showers during the day Friday, it could put down over 1 inch in a few spots. So be aware of that. It is rain we need, though. We have been very dry in western New York, as you may know. All right, so by Friday afternoon, only in the upper 60s. We go further south and down across the southern tier. Places like Jamestown and Mayville, upper 60s. Rain here may fall a little more frequently. How about the future? All right, so the weekend, some afternoon sun. Saturday, you got to like the 4th of July, 78 degrees. A nice warm up early next week with temperatures in the mid-80s. And then we stay there, Michael, into the 80s with scattered storms right through the end of next week.
Very good. Thank you, Scott. More athletes chosen to represent Team USA. One of the tennis stars is a familiar face. How much of your money goes to pay for childcare? 10%, 20%? Why, the number, whatever it is, may go up even more.
I'm Cheryl Atkinson in one unlikely place attracting Hollywood dollars on the next full measure.
Sunday on Fox 29.
Trending tonight, a tennis pro with ties to Western New York is headed to the Olympics. Jessie Pegula's first time being selected to Team USA. Pegula took to Twitter to mark the occasion, saying, "See you in Tokyo." She'll compete in singles and doubles competitions on behalf of Team USA. Jessie Pegula is the daughter of the owners of the Buffalo Bills and Sabres. Her mom, Kim, says she's so proud of her daughter and all her hard work. 60 years after training to become an astronaut, An 82-year-old woman is getting her chance to view space. Wally Funk is taking the 4th spot on next month's Blue Origin flight. She'll make the suborbital trip with founder Jeff Bezos and his brother. Funk trained with NASA's Mercury program back in the 60s, but never got the opportunity to go to space. She'll fly as an honored guest on the launch on the 20th. Fantasy Island's water park is on track to open this summer and officially has a new name. The ownership group confirming tonight the water park portion of the amusement park will be known as Splash World. According to the website, the park will have a Double Dare Falls. A Chicago investor finalized a lease on the park last month. Fantasy Island announced it was closing in February of 2020. Tickets for the Erie County Fair are on sale now. You need to get them ahead of time, and you need to buy them online. The event is 41 days away. This will be the county's 181st fair, and it'll operate at full capacity. They woke up at the crack of dawn to find a big stranger roaming around the kitchen, a bear. The couple in California says they grabbed the cat and they ran to the bedroom. Who wouldn't? They got to thinking about a strategy. How in the world are we going to get that thing out? Well, opening the sliding door, that didn't work. The bear didn't care. The bear plops down in the kitchen, slurping chocolate milk, eating Cheerios. Once the couple closed the freezer, that's when the bear took off.
I just was like, all right, I've been here 15 minutes. I think I'm ready to go, and went out the door that I had opened earlier.
He's out.
It was crazy.
And there's a thing with bears and homes lately. This video shows a mama bear and her cubs taking a dip in the water on a California beach. Experts say they're becoming more bold around people because they're finding food and trash. Had she lived, Princess Diana would be 60 years old tonight. Her sons coming together to unveil a new statue of her. The monument to the princess is in the Kensington Palace Garden in London. It shows the princess surrounded by children. In a statement, the brothers say they want that memorial to honor their mother as a force for good around the world. Tonight we go down the thruway and into Rochester. Is there something Buffalo can learn about bail reform there? A personal frustration, families separated by the border. Tonight, I asked Senator Chuck Schumer, what's the holdup? She couldn't find childcare to go to a job interview, so she brought her son with her. Sometimes things that go viral reveal a serious problem.
Fish and house guests start to smell after a few days.
Next, Judge Judy.
Tomorrow on Fox 29.
This week on Family Feud.
I don't know a lot about football, but, well, hut.
Weeknights on Fox 29.
Let's roll Buffalo. Roll up your sleeves to give blood. Fox 29 and MyTV Buffalo has again teamed up with the American Red Cross for the Sinclair Cares Roll Up Your Sleeves campaign. Please make an appointment to donate blood at WUTV.com.
The National Desk covers America's news now. This morning, these images making headlines.
Live across America with breaking news at the Live Desk.
Tomorrow morning at 7 on Fox 29.
Buffalo's Fox 29 News at 10 starts now.
Thank you for being with us at 10:30. I'm Michael Benny. Police across the state say bail reform is contributing to a surge of violent crime over the last year and a half. Buffalo counts 112 victims of homicide since January 2020, when that law took effect. Over the 12 years prior, city data we've reviewed shows the city was averaging about 50 homicides per year. We're now on pace to average 75. Tonight, we look just down the thruway to Rochester. Could Buffalo learn something from what the police chief there is taking a close look at? How many suspects released from jail go on to commit new crimes? Jane Chayko reports.
Police and prosecutors across Western New York are now joining forces with federal authorities to address the surge of gun violence. Rochester's interim police chief wonders if one cause begins in the courtroom.
Since last year, I had our staff, our analysts, working with the
district attorney's office to look at what our outcomes have been when it comes to people who have gun and violence and law violations on their records. And so what I've seen from this is that in many cases, those people are not in jail.
Bail reform eliminates cash bail for misdemeanors and most nonviolent felonies. Patrick Phelan is a retired police chief now working for the State Association of Police Chiefs.
It's a revolving door. You keep arresting the same people over and over again. The people that are committing the crimes know this is the case. They know they won't spend any time in jail, so there's really no deterrent to committing crime.
Phelan and chiefs across New York are now lobbying state lawmakers to give judges the power to keep suspects caught with illegal guns behind bars.
Even if they do get arrested for the illegal gun, they'll get an appearance ticket and they'll be right back on the street. The worst thing that'll happen to them is they'll lose their gun and they'll have to go get another one.
Marvin Mayfield works in criminal justice reform. He says if bail reform is to blame, then why is violent crime also spiking in states without new bail laws?
Bail reform is not responsible for putting criminals back on the street. Bail reform is responsible for preserving one of the most important tenets that we have in our criminal legal system, which is the presumption of innocence.
He calls bail reform a success and believes the coronavirus pandemic is a more logical reason for New York's surge in violence.
Had it not been for bail reform, they would have languished in jail, lost their apartments, their children, their jobs because of an arrest and the subsequent bail being put on them.
In Rochester, Jane Chaco, Fox Buffalo News at 10.
Tonight in a Fox 29 exclusive, Senator Chuck Schumer reveals the arm twisting isn't working. The U.S.-Canadian border remains closed, even though Americans can vacation in France, Spain, or Greece, where the vaccination rate is less than 50%. As frustration mounts, the senator tonight acknowledges this is a mental health issue. The border has been a tremendous frustration, a personal frustration, and I've learned lately it's become a mental health issue. I have a friend in upstate New York, hasn't seen his mom in Niagara Falls, Canada in more than a year. She's having a rough time with this. When can that border open?
Well, I've talked to both Secretary Mayorkas, Homeland Security, and the Secretary of State, Mr. Blinken. The U.S. is all for opening the border ASAP.
What's the holdup?
The Canadian government, Prime Minister Trudeau, is not ready to open it. And we say, look, you don't have to open it for everyone. But if you had a vaccination, it's easy to prove. You can go to a football stadium and show you had a vaccination. You can go to a movie theater and show you had a vaccination. Why can't you go to the border and show you had a vaccination? That's what we're pushing them to do. We're making some progress. When I called for this, I not only got lots of calls from people in Western New York, I got calls from people in Canada saying, keep it up. I said, call Trudeau.
Why can't we arm twist a little bit more?
Well, we're arm twisting very hard, but they're a sovereign country, and he's moving. He now says July 21st, he may do something. We're going to keep fighting and pushing until he does. It's a mental health issue. It's an economic issue. It's a business issue. It's a family issue. Got to get it done.
Canada will allow fully vaccinated Canadians, permanent residents, and some others to cross the border starting next Monday, the 5th. There has been no announcement beyond that. An alert tonight when it comes to the growing challenges at the southern border. One of the biggest concerns is drugs. There's been a dramatic increase, including one of the most deadly drugs, fentanyl. So far this year, there are 80 confirmed overdose cases in Erie County. 76 of those involved fentanyl. 74 are still waiting test results. Christine Frizzell reports tonight on the growing concern at the southern border.
This batch was hidden in hospital gowns. This one in breakfast burritos. This one in a car battery. Each time containing one of the most dangerous and deadly drugs out there, fentanyl, increasingly making its way into this country, accounting for the majority of overdose deaths, according to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention.
We love the outdoors.
23-year-old Bryce Macris was one of them. He came to his parents for help shortly after graduating college in Florida.
He said, I'm not well. He had tried to detox on his own. He couldn't.
His parents, Michelle and John Macris, checked him into rehab, But it wasn't enough.
On March 12th, we got a phone call. He relapsed in the halfway house, which was a fatal overdose.
They are now trying to help others, but their challenges grow deeper by the day. 3 years ago, Border Patrol agents seized a little more than 1,900 pounds of fentanyl. This year, so far, they've seized more than 7,000, a 270% increase. Agents say cartels are also now using migrants desperate to get across as personal drug mules, a problem one agent told me he and his team see firsthand.
The coyotes are making money with the people. They're exploiting them, they're threatening them.
That threat, of course, also to the American people, about 100,000 of whom died from drug overdoses last year. It's one reason why some lawmakers from non-border states say what's happening at the border needs to be of utmost concern for lawmakers from all 50 states.
I have in my district the highest level of drug overdoses ever. We spend money, we set up rehab centers, but it's still coming. And my chiefs of police in my cities tell me this is where it's coming from.
Where it's coming from is almost always Mexico, though many of the ingredients are made in China. A tasteless, odorless drug wreaking havoc on the lives of thousands, one loss at a time. I'm Christine Frizzell reporting.
Finally, back to work, now hitting another hurdle with children. Those who aren't vaccinated more at risk for the dreaded Delta variant. How to protect those too young to get the vaccine. We are back with your Fox Family Focus tonight. As more people head back to work, a lot of parents are running into a hurdle, the rising cost of childcare. Angela Brown reports.
Maggie's cute story about bringing her adorable toddler to her job interview went viral.
I was just honest and let them know that I wasn't able to have childcare.
But her struggle exposed what millions of families face.
A lot of people aren't able to pay for the childcare if they're unemployed, even if there's one parent who is employed. You have so many other bills that you have to pay for.
Parents are spending more of their income on childcare. Just days ago, the Center for American Progress released new data, finding the average cost for an infant at a licensed care center is over $1,300 a month, adding up to nearly $16,000 a year, making it roughly 21% of the average income for a family of three. Sandra Sanders from the Mom Project.
The moms who are trying to get back into the workforce now, who have been out of work, don't have the money or the job to pay for this child care. So it's like a no-win situation.
Child care centers are feeling the pinch as well. A January report by LendingTree estimated the COVID-19 crisis cost child care centers an extra 41% per child, costs passed on to parents. Sanders says parents need more flexibility and more money.
Remote working for sure, even higher living wages, because we're seeing right now that moms are trying to re-enter the workforce, right? But because of what's going on right now, because they are limited and needing flexible options, they're kind of having to take roles with lesser pay.
And if you're wondering about Maggie, well, she got the job and her video got 8 million views. She's hoping her story will get Americans talking about making childcare more affordable. This month, millions of parents will have extra money in their wallets. The child tax credit was expanded under the Biden administration, $3,600 for each child under 6 and up to $3,000 for kids 6 to 17. And the money will start hitting bank accounts July 15th, which is 2 weeks from today. In Washington, I'm Angela Brown.
Continuing COVID coverage tonight as the Delta variant continues to spread. We're focused on protecting children who can't get the vaccine. Experts say if you live in an area with high cases and low vaccination rates, your children are more at risk. Other factors to consider. If you work in a job where you're exposed to a lot of other people, that also ups the risk. If that's the case, some health experts are recommending parents wear a mask in public and the children do the same. Still ahead on the Fox 29 News at 10, former President Trump launching an undeclared comeback, just as his longtime money man is dragged into court. The strategy and the pitfalls as he teases a big decision. New information tonight, he did not reveal the decision, but former President Trump says he's decided whether he'll run again, just as his business is criminally charged. The CFO of the Trump Organization, Alan Weisselberg, was masked and handcuffed as he was arraigned in a New York City courtroom. He's accused of not paying nearly $2 million in taxes owed. Now there are questions about how the organization's legal issues could impact the former president's political future. James Rosen reports.
Just as former President Trump was launching an undeclared comeback with his first rally since leaving office in Ohio Saturday night and a high-profile visit to the Texas border on Wednesday, another figure reemerged, Trump Organization CFO Alan Weisselberg, who surrendered early Friday morning ahead of arraignment in New York on criminal charges against him and the company he has served since 1973, charges to which Weisselberg pleaded not guilty.
I think when somebody doesn't cooperate, it's because the other person might just have a lot of leverage on you.
Mr. Trump's rally saw him repeating false claims about 2020.
We won the election in a landslide.
And trying out new material.
You see these generals lately on television? They are woke. Our military will be incapable of fighting and incapable of taking orders.
The border visit, designed to remind the GOP base of the former president's tough stand on illegal immigration, provided a reminder, too, of all that awaits if Mr. Trump should become a candidate again.
What's very clear is that President Trump does not want to leave the public eye.
Ron Bonjean, a former House GOP leadership aide, said it is difficult to predict whether the criminal proceedings in New York will present new legal jeopardy for the former president, or whether he has any real future as a viable candidate at all.
It's really hard to say. Is it out of question? No. Right now, it feels a little out of reach, but his messaging really needs to change up, and it needs to be much more broadening to appeal to, yes, the Trump voters, but also people that Republicans need to win back the White House.
The Trump Organization, which also pleaded not guilty, called Weisselberg a pawn in a scorched earth attempt to harm the former president. Separately, the Trump communications team announced a new social media platform similar to Twitter called Getter, available on the Google and Apple app stores. Meantime, Mr. Trump's next speech is set for Saturday afternoon at the Sarasota Fairgrounds in Florida. In Washington, James Rosen.
Tonight, 8 representatives have been appointed to a 13-person committee to investigate the January 6th attack on Capitol Hill. In Erie County, 6 people are being investigated for their role that day. That's the second highest number of arrests for one county in the entire country. Among the new appointments, Republican Congresswoman Liz Cheney. Cheney was one of just 2 Republicans to vote in support of creating the committee this week. Representative Benny Thompson, a Democrat of Mississippi, will chair the committee.
We'll do our job. We'll do it according to the oath we took as members of Congress. But more importantly, we have to get to the bottom of finding out all the things that went wrong on January 6th.
House Republicans were given 5 appointments to the committee. It's unclear if they'll appoint anyone. President Biden expressing disappointment this evening over the Supreme Court's ruling that Arizona's new, more restrictive voting laws do not violate the Voting Rights Act. The court ruled 6-3 that in-person ballots cast at the wrong polling station on Election Day must be tossed out, and only family, caregivers, mail carriers, and election officials can deliver another person's completed ballot to a polling place.
I think that it is critical that we make a distinction between voter suppression and suspension.
Democrats are pushing a federal voting overhaul in response to Republican state houses passing their own reforms. Most New Yorkers say Governor Andrew Cuomo should not seek re-election. In the Siena College poll, 39% said the governor should serve out his term but not run again. 23% think he should resign now. 33% said Cuomo should run for re-election. The governor did have an overall positive rating on his handling of the pandemic, 51% approving, one area where voters overwhelmingly say he did a bad job addressing questions about his handling of COVID nursing home deaths. To the Fox First Forecast tonight, here's meteorologist Scott Hetsko.
So good to be with you here this evening. Let's talk about
on fireworks Sunday night for the Big Buffalo festivities. Whatever you're doing for Sunday, weather should cooperate. In the evening, some snap and crackle, only from firework people, not from you. Be careful in your backyard. It'll be in the 60s late Sunday night. Hey, Almanac today, 80 over 68. Not too bad in Buffalo today. 93, the record set back in 1963. Let's talk about future weather because it's going to rain here off and on tomorrow. So 7:28 in the morning, we got some scattered showers. Look at the timeline. The rain's moving in from northeast to southwest. That's an upper level low pressure that's moving through the area. So kind of a wishy-washy Friday. It will improve for the weekend. And that's all that matters. All right, let's look at future rainfall to give you an idea of what we could expect here. So if you get caught in some of these heavier showers during the day Friday, it could put down over an inch in a few spots. So be aware of that. It is rain we need, though. We have been very dry in Western New York, as you may know. All right, so by Friday afternoon, only in the upper 60s. We go further south and down across the southern tier. Places like Jamestown and Mayville, upper 60s. Rain here may fall a little more frequently. How about the future? All right, so the weekend, some afternoon sun. Saturday, you got to like the 4th of July, 78 degrees. A nice warm up early next week with temperatures in the mid-80s. And then we stay there, Michael, into the 80s with scattered storms right through the end of next week.
Very good. Thank you, Scott. A good neighbor in the city of good neighbors. She started something small that got so big during the pandemic.
So the Sabres introduced their head coach today, but everybody wanted to talk about Jack Eichel and his future. So what did the coach and GM say about it? You'll hear that coming up in Buffalo Plus Sports.
Next, Big Bang. Tomorrow on Fox 29.
Welcome to Buffalo Plus Sports. Mike Catalana, along with Dan Fates. Dan, the reintroduction of the head coach, Don Granato, now the full-time job. But while he answered a bunch of questions today, everybody wants to know about the captain.
Yeah, absolutely. And Jack Eichel and the uncertainty that still remains. We asked Kevin Adams, the GM, about is there any new information about the medical side? And he said he's not a doctor and that they're still trying to wait things out. But the question was, what does the future look like and can they mend this relationship moving forward?
You know, our stance hasn't changed in where we're at, and it's in the hands of the medical experts. You know, that's really it's what I said previously, and it's where we're at right now.
Whatever the scenario is, we'll be ready for it, and we will adjust and acclimate without compromising the direction we want to go. So I'm confident, comfortable in that.
Yeah, Don Granato also added that he felt an obligation to take this job, Mike, but it doesn't seem like there's any obligation to mend the fences that have been broken here.
Look, at this point, I think when you hire a Don Granato as the coach, working with these young players like he did last year, I think you've sent a clear signal that Jack Eichel is going to be playing elsewhere next year. I think it's only a matter of time before a deal happens. But, Dan, the Sabres got to make a good deal for this franchise for now and going forward.
And you don't want to get 50 cents on the dollar. Jack Eichel is still, even with his injury, a top player, and you need to get the return back, especially for a young GM like Adams.
Yeah, Sabres fans may not want to hear it's about rebuilding again, but it really is about rebuilding again. Remember, for all of your Buffalo Bills news, make sure you check out the Buffalo Plus YouTube channel.
Thank you, guys. Just in tonight, photos from the front line. A fence up around the collapsed condo disaster in South Florida. Signs, flags, photographs that will break your heart, and notes to those who are still missing. The country's still praying for some good news from down there. And our live coverage of the disaster in South Florida continues tomorrow. Tune into the National Desk from 7 to 9. Finally tonight, our good neighbor in the city of good neighbors. Jen Isaacson started Kenton's Little Free Food Pantry. As schools started shutting down last March, Isaacson wanted to make sure kids in the area were fed when they couldn't depend on school meals. And boy, did this take off. Still taking donations. The Little Free Food Pantry is at 152 Irving Terrace in Tonawanda. We'll continue to feature a good neighbor every night. That's the Fox 29 News at 10 tonight. I'm Michael Benny. Thanks so much for being with us. I'll see you back here tomorrow night, I hope.